Coming up tonight, a former NBC anchor denies claims of sexual assault, revealed in a new book.
SUNY Oswego's campus police has a new plan to ensure students pay their parking tickets.
And former Vice President Biden calls for President Trump's impeachment.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Matt Green.
And I'm Brianna Lynn.
Ex-NBC anchor and host of The Today Show, Matt Lauer, has denied rape allegations reported in Ronan Farrow's new book, Catch and Kill. The accusations came to light after Variety magazine received an advanced copy of the book. Farrow details a claim from former The NBC News producer Brooke Nevels that while covering the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics in Russia, Lauer invited her back into his hotel room after a night of drinks when he pushed her onto his bed and raped her. Nevels says sexual encounters with Lauer continued when they were both returned to New York, but said, quote, "It was completely transactional. It was not a relationship."
Lauer released an open letter through his attorney saying that his relation with Neville was consensual. NBC News issued this statement after the Variety report. Quote, "Matt Lauer's conduct was appalling, horrific, and reprehensible, as we said at the time. That's why he was fired within 24 hours of us first learning of the complaint. Our hearts break again for our colleague." The book is expected to be released Tuesday, October 15th.
Today marks the start of the 48th annual Napa Auto Parts Super Dirt Week at the Oswego Speedway. This is the third year that Oswego Speedway is hosting the event. Drivers from the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic will compete for a $350,000 cash prize, as well as many other awards. The event runs until October 13th. Thousands of fans are expected to be in attendance.
Two companies have released plans to expand in Syracuse and create 430 new jobs, according to Governor Cuomo. Bankers Healthcare Group and JMA Wireless are moving into newly planned locations in downtown Syracuse at Spencer Street and Cortland Avenue. JMA Wireless is the first American company to create 5G cell equipment. The newly planned locations will be rebuilt with $16 million worth of state grants. The projects are expected to be completed by 2023.
With October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, uninsured residents of Onondaga County can now receive free mammograms. The Cancer Services Program is providing screenings and recommends middle-aged women to attend. According to United States breast cancer statistics, about 1 in every 8 U.S. women will develop breast cancer over the course of her lifetime. To find out if you are eligible for a free mammogram, call 315-435-3653.
University police have something new in store for us, and it has something to do with parking on campus. Our Michael Jean tells us what this new tool is and the reason behind this new idea.
SUNY Oswego's University Police are taking a new approach on parking enforcement by implementing a new tool, the parking boots.
Here at SUNY Oswego, University Police use this tactic to prevent further practices of violation here on campus and ensure that timely parking fees are met.
In 2018-2019, roughly 8,000 parking tickets were issued on campus ground due to various violations. The decision of using wheel clamps, or better known as parking boots, to regulate parking control is the result of the collaboration between the police department and the college admissions. Assistant Chief Kevin Velsey, staff member for 30 years, explained the significance of the parking boots.
It's actually beneficial. It's two drawbacks to towing are the cost. Tow operators now charge over $200 for a tow, so that cost goes away to the offender. And also the hassle of getting your car back. Your car will still be where you left it. It's just a matter of going online, paying the fines, calling us and saying, you know, this has been paid for, and we'll come and remove the boot.
He also explained the financial aspect.
Is that we're not going to charge an extra or an additional fee to have the boot put on or taken off. So all you're paying for is the ticket, basically.
Student drivers tell their thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, I mean, it'll teach people. I mean, you know, if you ain't got the money to get the boot off, then you got to think about where you're parking. So I think it's a pretty solid idea.
I don't think it's fair because you have to get places, and sometimes it's with your own car.
It's a little excessive, I feel like, to put a boot on a car, especially being a college student.
I think it's too
too rash, too harsh.
Michael Jean reporting.
If you want to avoid getting the boot, make sure to follow the rules. If you have any questions or concerns, you can go to the University Police Office or go online to their website.
The deadline to register to vote in New York's upcoming election is quickly approaching. The November 5th election will include county lawmakers, the district attorney, county executive, county comptroller, and state Supreme Court judges. Residents have until 5 p.m. this Friday, October 11th, to register with the Board of Elections. You can register online through the DMV website or on the New York State Elections website. You can also call 1-800-4VOTE and have the request to have the form mailed.
A SUNY Binghamton professor is one of the 3 scientists awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Dr. M. Stanley Whittingham was awarded for his contributions to the development of lithium-ion batteries, a type of battery that is optimizing energy storage for technology like electric cars and mobile phones. Other recipients of the award include John B. Goodenough of the University of Texas and Akira Yoshino of Miho University in Japan.
Governor Andrew Cuomo announced earlier today that New York State is planning to sue the International Joint Commission over damages caused by lakeshore flooding. He says, quote, "It is a cry for help from the state of New York and our expression of frustration that they have done absolutely nothing to help with the New Yorkers deal with this situation. And it is unfair that we should be shouldered with over $1 billion in costs when the IJC has done absolutely nothing to reduce the damage to the state of New York." The IJC is in charge of regulating the water levels for Lake Ontario, despite the claims that their plan caused the flooding. The IJC says that record rainfall is to blame, not them. Coming up later tonight, a tweet from NBA caught China's attention. Find out why.
And Montgomery has elected its first African-American mayor.
But first, let's take a quick look at weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Jacob Rumowicz. Jacob?
Good evening. It was a beautiful fall day today. Now temperatures are cooling down a bit, 50 degrees along the lakeshore and upper to mid 40s inland. We'll see how this weather plays out later. Please tune in after the break. This is WTOP 10. Welcome back to WTOP 10. I'm Storm Team 10 meteorologist Jacob Rumowicz. Let me step out of the way so you guys can see the graphic. Current conditions in Fulton, New York, 45 degrees with clear weather, calm winds, feels like 45 with a dew point of 41. The pressure, though, rather high, 1027 millibars. Syracuse is a bit more cloudy, 54 degrees, a 7-mile-an-hour wind gust from the southeast, and pressure once again at the same around 1027 millibars. So let's take a look now at our futurecast. So as of now, we're seeing some relatively low temperatures. This is for 6 a.m. on Thursday. These are your low temperatures for the night, down to the lower 40s to even, look at Watertown, 39 degrees is your low temperature for this for tomorrow morning, As you progress through the day, we have some clouds moving in. This is Thursday at 12. This is around your lunchtime. Temperatures rise to the 60s to even the lower 60s, the lower 60s, and some locations could remain just under the 60-degree mark. Moving forward, Thursday, this is around dinner time. Your clouds have moved out. Maybe a nice time to see the sunset around the lake. 66 in Pulaski, 64 in Oswego. The temps mainly steady in the mid to lower 60s around the area. As we progress once again to Friday morning, these temperatures are much like the temperatures of Thursday morning, maybe a tad warmer. Upper 40s in and around the lakeshore and mid to upper 40s inland, further from Lake Ontario. Friday evening, we can see more clouds moving into the area, but still a beautiful next 2 days, I would have to say. So let's move on to the big picture. So this is obviously the continental United States. We see a large frontal system moving through it. Now look at this next graphic. Look at that temperature change. As a weather nerd myself, I'm kind of geeking out over this. 32 degrees in Bismarck, and not too far away in Minneapolis, 61. There is a huge cold pressure. There's a huge cold front moving through the region that's dropping these temperatures like a rock. Now let's take a look tomorrow. Let me once again step out of the way. 64 degrees with a north wind of about 5 to 8 miles an hour. Now we're going to take a look at our 7-day forecast. 64 degrees on Thursday. Friday around 65, Saturday, Sunday, maybe a chance for showers with highs in the mid to upper 60s, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, though, maybe some cooler temperatures. Might be time to bring out that winter jacket. Well, okay, maybe not a winter jacket, but it might be time to bring out a lighter jacket.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. Former Vice President Joe Biden is calling for President Donald Trump's impeachment for the first time. President Trump is facing impeachment inquiries in the House after trying to convince the Ukrainian government to investigate the Biden family. Trump claims Biden's son, Hunter, quote, has ripped off at least 2 countries for millions of dollars while he sat on the board of a Ukrainian national gas company. Trump has called for China to launch an additional investigation.
From the hardwall to hardball, a tweet from an NBA team has China pulling the plug on NBA games for basketball fans in its country. The standoff also affects a long-running animated comedy. Meanwhile, the Trump administration takes action toward Chinese officials. John Lawrence reports.
The ball is in China's court, but the Chinese won't be able to see it.
Everyone needs to be clear that if you are doing business in China, your political views will be sanitized in favor of the Beijing government.
China says it will not air or stream the NBA preseason games played in its country. This after Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, tweeted support for the ongoing pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. He later deleted the tweet.
We are not apologizing for Daryl exercising his freedom of expression.
Chinese broadcaster CCTV says it's also taking a close look at its overall relationship with the NBA.
We are, at the end of the day, an American-based company. Of course, we do business all around the world, but those values, those mores travel with us.
This Chinese crackdown has stretched to more than just basketball.
And anybody who would betray their ideals just to make money in China isn't worth a lick of spit.
The show South Park has basically gone from China's internet because of the episode Banned in China, which addresses how the U.S. entertainment world works to avoid offending China's censors. The show's creators offered a sarcastic apology to China on Twitter. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced visa restrictions Tuesday on Chinese officials suspected of detaining and abusing millions of Uyghur Muslims and other minorities. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
It's unclear at this point if Chicago police will investigate the incident as a crime.
Montgomery has elected their first African-American mayor since the Alabama city was founded in 1819. Judge Stephen Reed won the election over his opponent, David Woods, with 67% of the vote. Reed says winning this election was a significant event for himself and the city.
It's certainly significant given the history of Montgomery, given all that happened here. Montgomery has been a pilot for so many world-changing events, the bus boycott, so many other things that have happened here. And so being a part of that history is very heartfelt to me.
A second suspect has been arrested in connection to the murder of Joshua Brown, who was a key witness in a murder trial of former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger. 10 days after Brown testified for the prosecution, he was shot dead during a drug deal. Up until Tuesday, Jacqueline Mitchell was the only suspect in custody. U.S. Marshals arrested the second suspect, Michael Mitchell, Tuesday evening in Martinsville, Louisiana. The men will face capital murder charges.
2 people were shot near a synagogue today in eastern Germany. The suspect fired several shots in the vicinity of the synagogue. Several people were wounded and 2 were killed. Authorities have made 1 arrest but say 2 other suspects may have fled in a vehicle. They now believe just 1 gunman carried out the attack. This comes after an increase in small attacks on Jewish people in recent weeks.
Days after President Trump said the U.S. would be pulling U.S. troops back from the border between Turkey and Syria, Turkey announced today that it had started a military offensive there. As U.S. officials on all sides of the political spectrum have said they oppose President Trump's decision, Camila Bernal has the very latest in this report from Washington.
Turkey launching a military offensive into northern Syria Wednesday, with civilians fleeing border cities. President Erdogan announced the move on Twitter, saying, Our mission is to prevent the creation of a terror corridor across our southern border. In response, President Trump held firm on his decision to pull back U.S. military forces in the region.
We're now acting as police. We're policing areas. We're doing jobs that other countries should be doing. We shouldn't be doing it. We're 7,000 miles away.
That decision has been loudly criticized on both sides of the political aisle, including by Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the president's biggest supporters on Capitol Hill, who tweeted that this is a, quote, disaster in the making. Pray for our Kurdish allies who've been shamelessly abandoned by the Trump administration. This move ensures the reemergence of ISIS. Graham and others fear that as part of this offensive, Turkey will attack the U.S.-supported local fighters who have been key in the fight against ISIS.
Our partners, the SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces, did pretty much all the fighting and dying in Syria. And we enabled them, we gave them air cover, we gave them intelligence. Some of our special forces people fought alongside them.
And in fact, the SDF has already announced it has suspended military operations against ISIS in order to focus on the Turkish offensive. In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
In an apparent response to Trump's warning, Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay said his country will not bow to threats.
The autopsy of Abrar Fahad, a Bangladeshi undergraduate student who was found dead days after criticizing the Bangladeshi government online, has been released. The autopsy revealed that after he was taken from his dormitory Sunday, he was beaten for hours. As of right now, 13 people from the Bangladesh Chhatra League, the youth wing of the governing Awami League Party, have been arrested. Protests broke out Monday and continued into Tuesday in Dhaka and other cities as students expressed their outrage. According to BBC, beating and bullying those who express different views is common in Bangladesh. Coming up in sports, Nick Ketter. Nick, can you give us a quick preview?
I sure can. We take a look at Oswego Men's Hockey Media Day, and I'll give you enough update with Oswego Field Hockey and plenty of MLB playoff news. Don't go anywhere. Sports is next. P10 Nightly News, I'm Nick Ketter, and here is your sports update. To the ice. With hockey season approaching in just under 2 weeks, the men's ice hockey team held a press conference for various media organizations. Reporter Caroline Evans has more.
Hockey season is right around the corner in Oswego, and the men's hockey team starts off their season with Media Day, where the media organizations like WTOP10, WNYO, and the Oswegonian get to ask the team questions on how they plan to prepare for this season. The captains for this season are seniors Josh Zizek, Jody Sullivan, Anthony Pissarro, and junior Carter Allen.
As a coaching staff, the four of them they stand for who we are, the work ethic, the attitude, the commitment, dedication that it takes to be successful. They certainly have all those qualities and the right people to lead us.
As Isaac goes into his second year as a captain, he is confident that the leaders before him have prepared him for this moment.
To feel it out, and at the end of the day, just trust yourself. Like you said, I've done this for 2 years, and I've had great leaders before me, and so I'm confident that they've kind of showed me the way, and I can make all the decisions.
The Lakers kick off their season with an exhibition game at home against Carlton Place on October 19th at 7 p.m.
At the end of the day, I think we're just having a lot of fun with it, and there's nothing better than scoring goals, and I think we're pretty good at it, so hopefully that kind of goes into this year as well.
This is Caroline Evans with WTOP 10 Sports.
The men will face Carlton Place in their first game of the season on October 19th at the Moreno Campus Center. To the field, Oswego field hockey team fell short after mounting a huge comeback against Sage University on Tuesday. After the Sage Gators stormed ahead 2-0, the Lakers rallied with 2 goals from sophomore Alyssa DeMichael and junior Kathleen Little in the third and fourth quarters. With the game tied, Oswego went to overtime playing well, but Sage's Sarah O'Connor netted her 13th goal of the season to best the Lakers. Following the great effort, the Lakers return home this Saturday for a match against SUNYAC foe Cortland. Well, from the field, we go to the baseball diamond. The MLB playoffs will witness 2 huge Game 5s tonight. The NLCS matchup will be decided as the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Atlanta Braves at 5 p.m. and the Washington Nationals face off with the LA Dodgers at 8:37 p.m. Both series are tied at 2 games apiece. These games are high stakes, especially for the Nationals, who are trying to win their first playoff series and return to the NLCS for the first time since 1981, when they were known as the Montreal Expos. Well, staying on the diamond, the New York Yankees have made some decisions regarding their roster for the ALCS. The Yankees have opted to keep relief pitcher Zach Britton on the roster after he injured his ankle during the ALDS victory on Monday. The Yankees have also confirmed that closer Aroldis Chapman will be ready to go for the ALCS after injuring his pitching hand celebrating the victory. The Yankees will have a few more roster decisions to make, with outfielder Aaron Hicks returning from injury and pitcher CC Sabathia expressing interest in a playoff return. Well, continuing on the baseball field, ALDS Game 4, the Houston Astros taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. In the bottom of the first, Tommy Pham hits that one deep. It just gets over the wall, 1-0, a quick start for the Rays. But the hitting wasn't done there. Travis d'Arnaud hits one, squeaks it through into the outfield. That's going to score Choi and put the Rays up 2-0. But the Houston would try to come back here. Josh Reddick rips that one down the line, but Choi says no way. And then he gives the ball away for a souvenir. How about that? Choi having a big game. Yordan Alvarez hits that one deep in the fourth off the wall. Kevin Kiermaier hits the cutoff man, Willy Adames. Adames throws it to the plate. Altuve not in time. He's out. Houston stays off the board. It's 3-0 still for the Rays. But Adames, he wasn't done with putting his name in this game. Adames crushes that one. He's trying to raise the roof in Tropicana Field. That one almost hits the lights. It hits rafters, bounces once, twice, and into the crowd. The Rays would hold on 4-1 and force a Game 5 tonight. Winner plays the Yankees on Saturday in the ALCS.
Yeah, and I think we all know who I'm going to be going for. Yankees fan, by the way. Yankees pride, 27 pennants. Let's see if we can get 28 this year, right?
Yeah, of course. Good team.
It's crazy.
And Jacob, what's the weather going to be like for this weekend?
Well, unfortunately, the weekend is looking a bit rough with some rain on Saturday with a high of 66. Sunday is looking a bit better with 61 degrees and a bit clear skies. But as we move further, Tuesday and Wednesday could be a bit cool.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, why does the weather change so frequently in central New York? Just tell me. Like, what goes on here that's so, like, I mean, Florida, you know, at least they have hurricanes, so I can't really say that it could be worse. But, you know, why? I mean, one day it was 80 degrees, and the next day it's like 40. What's up with that?
So you can attribute that mostly to the fronts, but I want to say a big contributor to our crazy weather, particularly our snow, is our lake. Lake Ontario is absolutely huge, and it just impacts our weather greatly. I'm from Southern Rhode Island. We get 36 inches of snow on average. In Oswego, New York, you get around 130, 140. So I'm ready for my first winter here. I'm very excited. I love the snow, and I chose the school for the lake.
I have to disagree with you on the snow. I grew up in Syracuse, and I just don't like it. But anyways, that's our report for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for Weather Wise.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.